Around the Clubhouse World is a pretty great episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and I was surprised that this was just a one-parter. There were quite a few two-parters in this 4th season. This is episode 16, and it was a little bit longer, I think, than the average episode, but I genuinely think they should have made it 2 parts. Mickey has been gifted by Von Drake passports and some tickets and various other things that crop up in the Mouseketools, and he's going around the world, and Mickey, Minnie and Pluto go off in their car to visit these different locations, and they visit 4 places. First of all, they visit, well, they're clubhouse versions of these places. So they visit the clubhouse version of Paris, where Daisy and Donald are in this beautiful garden, and Donald is painting this rather delightful picture of the Eiffel Tower, and it does teach children languages, but not overly so. I think maybe each place they visited, certainly Paris and then the next place, which I'll discuss in a moment, mentioned a couple of different words in those languages, just to get children used to the sounds of different languages. But obviously this is aimed at preschool children who are still getting to grips with their own language, so it's not overly abundant, but it does highlight cultural differences and stereotypes, let's be honest. But that's, it's not too severe, it's not too bad. They go to Paris, and then they go to Italy, and Goofy and Clarabelle are there in a gondola, and I have to say, I hate to admit it, I loved the song that they were singing. I really genuinely found it so addictive, and the song is also in the closing titles, and I never stick around for the closing titles, but I did this time, and I genuinely thought it was brilliant. They get to go to Italy, and Italy is beautiful in animation, and they get to have stamps on their passports as well, so it's not just teaching them about different cultures, but if a child is going on holiday for the first time, it teaches them about the concept of a passport and of international travel, which I think is something that will provide a level of reassurance, because, well, travelling can be scary for fully grown adults, never mind very young children. The other 2 places they go to, I felt, were not as fascinating or as well developed as the France and Italy ones, but they go to a Great Wall that resembles the Great Wall of China, and Chip and Dale are there. And then they go to Egypt and the pyramids, and Pete is there, and Pete looks amazing. Pete's costume is fantastic, and I genuinely thought he looked great. And those 2 aspects I liked as well. There were various opportunities for learning and for problem solving. Pete has a riddle that they have to try and solve. It's a really solid episode with a really great narrative. Definitely, this 4th season does not feel like the previous 3 seasons of Clubhouse. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it certainly is different. And I think spending this much time away from the Clubhouse is definitely better when it's only a one-off, because obviously children like the familiarity of the Clubhouse, most children. But taking the opportunity to talk about different countries, different cultures, and occasionally different languages, I think is something that's very educational, very fun, very different, very fresh. The inclusion of the passports and tickets and things and different modes of transport, which I won't say any more about, definitely is going to provide children with reassurance and a level of relatability if they're going on holiday. As I said, I am surprised that this wasn't a 2-parter, because there's a lot of substance in it, and they could have done even more if they wanted to. Around the Clubhouse World is definitely a very strong episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.